To order tonight. First up on the agenda are a couple of plaque presentations. These two gentlemen have served, Tom has served, or Mark has served from 2006 to 2016, and then again 2020 to 2024. And Commissioner Striblin has served from 2020 to 2024. We appreciate both of their services. And we've got, some appreciation plaques. And obviously, we've got a couple pictures we need to show you guys over on the wall. But just off of that, thank y'all for your service. It's long or short, it's trying and it's hard and and sometimes it's rewarding and sometimes it's not. But we do it because we want to make the place better. We want to make Jackson County better, and you guys have exemplified that throughout your tenure. So thank y'all. Any other commissioners?
Yeah, I just want to thank both of you for your service. It's been an honor and a privilege working with both of you. Thank you for helping us along when we were sworn in and starting out. Tom, you helped out quite a bit, and Mark, you had a lot of experience under your belt, so we sure appreciate it. Put politics aside and put Jackson County first, and that's what it's all about. That's what we're here for. So thank both of you for doing that during your time.
I'll just echo what they said, and thanks for being professional. We've had different opinions, but you've always worked it out and worked through it. Thank you.
And we're doing some good stuff, and just because you're not commissioner don't mean you're not going to be a part of some things coming up, some ceremonies and different things. So we're looking forward to having this.
Let's get a fun little picture here with these nice, pretty little plaques. These are. I knew we should have made it last. That way Carrie had to stay. We're going to unveil your new little pictures. Where are they? Hanging on the wall.
Oh.
Yeah, hey, your spouses, y'all want your spouses to come out and get a picture? Yes. They sacrificed more than we have.
Have something to say.
Oh, you're right.
Look at that. Nice.
Where are we going over here?
If we're going over here.
Marcus, start doing the thing. Drum roll. Go right ahead.
She was a little nervous. Last time I was in this role, I tell you what I was planning on doing. she, I proposed to Bill 7 years ago. And, right on the front row, and I was, if some of you who've worked with me a while know I have a little bit of a sense of humor. And I was planning on going to do something to top that and get on the front row again and ask her for a divorce.
I was gonna say,
She said yes. So she on the second row.
That was good.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Moving on now to our agenda. There are no, if everyone's had a chance to look over it, and there's no need for amendments, I'll seek a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And none opposed. Looking at our regular minutes from November 5th, if there are no needs for amendments on those, I'll seek a motion for approval.
So moved, Mr. Chair. It was a privilege to have just 3 pages.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Moving on now to administrative reports. I think everything that's been said has been already been said for my report. Thank you guys for your service. Thank you all for good friendships and wish you the best in retirement and I guess retirement, granddaddy. But thank y'all.
Thank you.
You retired from phone calls.
All right. Any other commissioners have anything they'd like to report on tonight?
I just would like to thank everybody at Jackson County for trusting me. And I hope I did a good job. That's it.
He said the word that I've been thinking a lot about, and it's the trust that the citizens put into each of us to spend their dollars wisely, to move forward with projects. And we've done some great capital projects as a board, the 5 of us, and future projects right around the corner that's really exciting. It's going to benefit the citizens of Jackson County. But having the thankfulness for the trust that I've had and received over the years has been overwhelming. I came in earlier today and looked at the Wall of Fame, I jokingly call it, and I've worked with 13 commissioners, 4 different boards, different compositions. And once, as Commissioner Bryson said, once you get up here, politics are put aside. It's the citizens, the work we do are for the citizens. And it reflects strongly, if you just look at some of the capital projects that we've been a part of, Center for Domestic Peace, the Animal Shelter, the Aquatic Center, along with the citizens of Jackson County, the Rec Center in Cashers, then the new rescue squad that'll be opening soon. It's just on and on. The library that's won numerous awards, the Council on Aging that's a model to the state. You know, it's just our free lunches for the children. It's incredible work. Pride can have a double-edged sword, but sitting up here tonight, I have the good side, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Turn it over to Kevin King for our county manager report.
First, I would like to say that, 1, thank you for your public service, and 2, thank you for the support you've given me over the last several months. I really appreciate it, and we'll miss you being there. So, But I think that, and I've mentioned, I think to both of you, that we've got several projects that's going to have your handprint on it, and so we'll be definitely inviting you back for all the ceremonies. So I really appreciate it. I was going to bring you up to speed on all the projects, pretty much. And first one, the Aquatic Center, it's on its last hoorah here. So we do have finishing up the punch list. That's all been taken care of for the most part. Staff is being trained. We have a tentative grand opening scheduled for December the 7th. It is tentative at this point. It could change, but as right now we're looking at that will be the day. So the Center for Domestic Peace, that project is going well. We did have a few hiccups there at first, but so far we've got some foundations going, and it's going along rather well. I have another meeting this week about that one. Casher Recreation and Whittier Park both are on the same schedule. Right now it's scheduled for November the 21st, a couple days from now, 2 p.m. We'll be opening bids. On the second go around, we had more interest from a few contractors, so we're hopeful that we're going to get the needed amount of contractors interested in the project. Department of Aging, that is being scheduled to be bid out in January. And this is the restoration project that we've got some issues with the structural pieces. So did have to engage with a structural engineer and architect to work out the details that will be bid out in January. Camden Fire Department, we're working through the final plans of that, getting that completed. And so that one is Odell Thompson is the architect, and we'll be bringing that back in the next couple months with a final ready for bidding that. Both the Justice Center and the administration building right now are on kind of hold at this point until we develop a funding mechanism, which we'll be talking about that in January. The Jackson County Fairground, we are moving pretty fast, I think, hopefully. We have got out RFPs for demolition. We also have RFPs out for construction of the building. At the same time, we're working on the water tower issue. We do have a report back that the water tower is not going to be economically feasible to rehabilitate. So we're going to have to go a different route with that. But we do have possibility of making it a billboard, so some sort of billboard thing. So because it's structurally there, it's not structurally sound for water or OSHA requirements. So there's a lot of issues there. Greenway project, we are continuing to try to explore looking at the different mechanisms for that funding of that project to continue expanding that. And so we've got several fillers out, and also we're trying to get additional properties for that. Then we have, of course, the 3 school projects, which are going to be coming up, 4 school projects, which are going to be coming up in January for during the capital improvement plan unveiling. So, do anybody have any questions?
On the aquatic center, that 1.9 million that's remaining in the budget, is that, how much of that's dedicated to the project? Do you know?
It'll be 5% is what's in. That's what's remaining. That's owed to the contractor. But I think there's what, 800,000.
There's about 800 to the contractor, and then there's some other supplies and equipment that we have to put in.
We utilized that 1.9.
The
Yeah.
majority of it.
Thank you.
How much did we get back, charge back on that for the delay?
Yeah, we've not forgot that. So it'll come out of at the end of the project. We will take that out before we give them their last draw. So Right now, it's been running at $500 a day since July 27th. So around 75, 80,000. Somewhere in there.
It's something.
We were down at the Drexel property earlier. It's coming along. It's exciting. There's a lot of things, a lot of pieces coming together. Thank Kevin for putting that all together down there. So, like I say, it's going to be a good site.
The community I've talked to is really excited about it. So.
Yeah.
Questions? Thank you.
Okay.
Any informal comment tonight? Blessed.
Nobody at Chugins out
I'm telling you.
on your last meeting.
Last meeting, you had everything. It's the weather. Moving on now to the consent agenda and the finance report from Ms. Fox.
Good afternoon. I'll go over the highlights for October. The general fund revenues collected to date is $27,458,799. That's 29.08% of the budget. The expenditures are $30,230,745. That's 33.35% of the budget. And at this point, the revenues are $2,771,946 less than expenditures. The ad valorem taxes collected to date is 43.5% of budget at $19,700,938. Motor vehicle taxes, $533,914. That's 25.63% of budget. And the prior year taxes is $148,722. That's 29.74% of budget. We received a sales and use tax distribution. The amount is $2,100,405 for the month of October, which was for July sales. That amount is $25,700 more than what we received in October of 2023. The Article 46 distribution was $242,626. The average increase for the fiscal year at this point is 1.24%. The landfill disposal fees, $1,080,292. That's 33.84% of budget. And the prior year landfill disposal fees, $20,262, which is 25.33% of budget. Via Health's first quarter finance report for fiscal year 24-25 is attached to my report. The revenues, $368,620,972, and their expenditures, $366,686,376. Their spendable cash at the end of the quarter is $194,711,152. The growth revenues, we see an increase in code enforcement. It's 8.78% more than the period that we're in. And the registered deeds is 5.85% more. The general fund contingency, the balance at the end of the month was $1,184,374.10. Be glad to answer any questions on the report.
Questions from the board? Okay. Moving on to our budget ordinance amendments.
Have two amendments for you tonight. The first one is fund balance appropriation, $5,750,000 to be transferred to the Economic Development Fund. The second one is in the Economic Development Fund, which shows the transfers from general fund, then $3,750,000 for property acquisition and $2 million for the fairground development.
Any questions from the board? Thank you, Ms. Cox.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Ms. Henson with our tax collector and refund reports for October.
Good evening. So for the month of October, the current taxes collected were $2,399,630. The delinquent taxes collected were $45,787. The total collected for the month of October was $2,582,598.93. There were refunds of $2,963.64 and releases of $281.77. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Is there a motion to approve our consent agenda as proposed, as presented?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Moving on now to new business and our audit report and Mr. Braswell of Martin Starnes Hay and Associates.
Good evening, Board. My name is Matt Braswell. Thank you for allowing me to take a little bit of time out of your meeting tonight to go over your 6/30, 2024 financial statements. Just kind of wanted to hit the highlights here, go through your general fund, different things like that. So do you want me to do it? You can do it. It doesn't matter. So first off, audit highlights unmodified opinion, which means you received a clean opinion, which means that your financial statements are in accordance with GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles, and materially correct. Very cooperative staff, Darlene and everyone that we work with, from HR, payroll to DSS, health department, everyone that we work with. Very, very on top of what they do and get us everything that we need in a timely manner to do our job quicker, easier, and more efficient. So we do not take that lightly. We highly appreciate that. No findings or question calls, nothing to report to you, the board. No material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. So that is always a positive. Just to kind of touch base, you kind of talked about your property tax revenue there. You can see the comparatives of 24 to 23. So you had an increase of about 3%. This is a snapshot in time. This is 6/30/2024 numbers, snapshot in time. So you can see compared your collection rates pretty spot on with the prior year there. You had an increase of about 3% or $1.5 million in your property tax revenues from 23 to 24. And then this next slide here, you can see your revenues and expenses compared 2024 to 2023. Revenues exceeded expenditures by about $10 million in 2024. Your increase in revenue from prior years is about 3.8, mainly due to ad valorem taxes and investment. So overall, a very better, a lot better year investment earning wise there in 2024. Increase in expenditures from prior years about $6 million, driven by general government function, human services, and culture and rec. We'll go into a little bit more detail of those functions in the next few slides. And to touch on your total fund balance in your general fund, as you can see, the 3 years compared 22 to 23, 24, about a $3.8 million increase. You can see a steady kind of incline there to your total fund balance over the past few years. And your fund balance position, just to kind of show, out of that total fund balance that we showed in the previous slide, you have various items that are restricted or that are committed for certain projects, certain things that you're doing. So you can see your total fund balance, and then you can see the deductions there. Register of deeds, stabilization by state statute. This is your accounts receivable or funds that you do not have in yet that are not available for appropriation. Assigned and committed, you have conservation, preservation, capital reserve funds, various things like that. So you can see out of the 53.8, you have about 40.6 that is unassigned, that is not restricted for any outside purpose there. So you can see compared to 2023, an increase of about roughly $1.3 million in your unassigned fund balance. And this next slide here, what we like to show here is out of that unassigned fund balance that we talked about on the previous slide, you can see kind of what reserves you have on hand. So 8% is roughly 1 month's supply of expenditures on hand there. So you can see we take your unassigned fund balance as a percentage of your expenditures, transfers out, and you can get kind of what you have reserves here. So overall, pretty identical to the prior year. You had an increase in unassigned this year, but you also had an increase in expenditures. So that kind of balanced out and put you there at about, you got a little over 5 months supply on hand. So overall, that's very stable and good. And just a touch, which you've already touched about on your property tax, but top 3 revenue sources. Property tax, some growth within the county, about 1.5 or 3% there. Other taxes and licenses, increase of about 2% or about $400,000. So sales tax has kind of stabilized there a little bit as compared when I did this presentation last year. Sales tax was huge there. So it's kind of stabilized there a little bit, but overall still some growth. Restricting governmental, this is your federal and state grants, mainly your DSS, health department related grants there that kind of fund various, sources there. So this is your federal and state grants, increase about $500,000 or 6%. And you will see your human services function and expenditure slide here in a few, it increased by about 5 to 6%. So you can see how that correlates, your federal and state grants correlate to your human services there. And top 3 expenditures here, general government, increase of about 3.7 or 28%, mainly due to increase in capital outlay, large capital outlay in 2024, and increase in maintenance department there, operating expenses. Public safety, pretty much a mirror image there of the prior year, less than a 0.5% change there. So very, very comparable public safety expenditures to the prior year. And then last slide, human services, I just touched on, increase of about $900,000 to $1 million there, or 5%. And this kind of correlates increased federal and state grants, increased in human services that you're, giving out to, various services within the county. So that's all I have. Any comments, questions, concerns? Overall, a good year for Jackson County.
Questions for the board? Yeah, thank you. It's a lot
Yes,
of
sir.
work.
It's it's a fairly substantial report, and Darlene and everyone, like I said, just a pleasure to work with, and there is a lot of work behind the scenes that not everybody can see, and all the emails and correspondence that we're constantly phone calls. Hey, we need to meet today, and just getting all the documents and able to complete the standards of auditing has increased substantially. The requirements that we have to get, that gets passed on to everyone there, but it goes very, very smoothly, and so we appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Brasman.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Darlene, and staff.
And staff, yeah.
Moving on now to fireworks display requests and Mr. Elders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. So you can see this show was actually approved last year on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, but Chief Beck of the Silver Fire Department asked to cancel it due to the dry conditions last year. I spoke with him last Friday before today's rain, and he was fine with going ahead with it next Saturday. So they'd already paid for the show, the chamber had, so they wanted to continue to have it. It's to spark interest in the downtown shopping night that Saturday. There's a lot of things going on downtown. That's what this is designed for, and it's the same company doing the same shoot we'd had before up there.
Any questions from the board? Not, I'll seek a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
None
Thank you.
opposed? Thank you, Mr.
Appreciate
Elder. And then moving on now to Our State, Our Home Housing Program Grant, and Mr. Poston from planning. Good evening.
Good evening. Tonight, just wanted to let the board know about a program that's available to the county to apply for. It's through the UNC School of Government has a nonprofit attached to it called the NC Impact initiative. And since 2020, they've worked with the chancellor's office at UNC on a program called Carolina Across 100, where they take different initiatives and try to apply those principles and programs across the state. In previous years, they've done Our State, Our Work, Our State, Our Wellbeing, Tar Heel Bus Tour, Rural Pharmacy Health Initiatives. And this year, as a fifth iteration of their program, they're doing Our State, Our Home. And they're going to select 18 communities throughout the state of North Carolina. And those 18 communities will work as a cohort on addressing affordable housing issues within those communities. The program is designed that they wanted you to interact with the community. They want to have a broad base of support and community partnerships. They've asked us to put together a core team that would be the leaders of the larger stakeholder group that include every one of our stakeholders that we have in all these projects: the universities, the school systems, the chambers, our nonprofits that work in this space. So we've got a lot of those folks looking forward to this program, and I think we put together a pretty good application and team. The core team that they would request will commit up to being to 5 meetings down in Chapel Hill to learn more about these issues. Will be myself, Tiffany Henry, Lene Schuler with the Southwest Commission, and she's also the staff to the Home Consortium Board there, and Patsy Davis, who's the executive director of Mountain Projects, Mountain Projects, as most of you know, provide a lot of our housing services in Jackson County. And the 4 of us have committed to being a part of this core team to lead this effort in Jackson County. There's no cost to the county for this program. The Density Impact Program, Carolina Across 100 program, will cover the expense of traveling. They'll provide some stipend work, even for some project management, to help further our efforts along. And we expect it to be about an 18-month project. They will provide us with technical assistance from the Development Finance Initiative. I think everyone remembers they came and helped us with the project. Those technical advisors will be on hand to help guide us through the process. At the end of the 18 months, what we should have is a affordable housing strategy that helps us to address the continuum of housing in Jackson County. That is the end goal for the commissioners to evaluate and review based off of a community-based approach, with members of the community that are impacted, but also all of our stakeholders that we have. So we believe this to be a great opportunity and great program for us to apply for. Like I said, there's no cost to the county, but I do want to request that the commissioners approve of the planning department submitting the application, which will be due this Friday. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Questions from the board? Is there a motion for approval of the grant application?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Now a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
All opposed? Thank you, Mr. Poston. Next up is Mr. King to discuss kind of Board of Commissioner compensation and what that entails.
This item is discussed at the previous meeting, and I did want to briefly state that general statute prohibits it being mid-year, but this will be a good topic for the next budget cycle because it has to be done in the budget ordinance. But there has been analysis done with COVID. The School of Government's website does not have up-to-date information. The last information was 2022, so it's kind of out of date. So we can do an analysis for the budget cycle. But if you all want to discuss it, if you want us to look into it, we can. And then we can get. We did doing, I think, give some information out to the newspapers about it, and there has been increases throughout the years. And I think that was in the Smoky Mountain News this week. But didn't know exactly where you wanted to go with it. But we can do an analysis, like I said, during the budget cycle, and make sure you're compensated comparatively to the other counties of like sized and
I
budgets.
think that's the best option is to, when we start our budget cycle for 25, go ahead and look at it and see where we compare.
Okay.
Suits me. Yeah, I think just looking at other counties and comparing, and we'll go from there. I mean, that's all we can do.
Can't make a change now.
Yeah.
But I did listen to some of what Commissioner Jones said during that meeting. He is right. I mean, you devote a lot of your time to this, but none of us got in it for the money.
Right.
But I mean, it takes a lot of time.
A lot of driving time.
Well, for you,
Well, I mean, not even
Yeah.
just from cashers. I mean, if you're coming from Whittier, that's
it's
all.
yeah, that and phone calls and it's a lot. But again, none of us got it. Well, I know I didn't get into it for the money. But I think it is something to look at. To touch on some of what Mark said, it may be more appealing for more people to get into public service. To sort of, I believe you mentioned that, didn't you?
The worst ones are bumping into somebody at Food Line or Walmart. And you're standing in the middle of an aisle talking to them for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It happens.
So I think that's I think it's something to look at. When we go over our budget.
I brought it up at the time because Commissioner Striblin and I are on the way out. It's not going to benefit, but I can see the benefits to current commissioners and future commissioners. And I know I've had conversations with Commissioner Stribling that sometimes he's had to give up some work time to come to meetings. And sometimes he's actually been on working in a backhoe or driving a dump truck, and he zooms in on those meetings because it was important. So I know, and myself, I'd stepped down as general manager from a $80,000 plus salary to take a different role in Hampton for about $40,000. And the same at Micah's restaurant, 65 down to about 35 when I got reelected. So does that make me intelligent? I don't know. It's lost a lot of money, but I'll tell you this: the reward that we serve the citizens of the county, and spend those dollars wisely, using our backgrounds and experiences to get the direction that we may want to go. So I know it's difficult to sit up here and try to give yourself a raise in the middle of at budget season. That is appropriate time. But please, I implore you to don't worry about you can keep it in back of your mind, but I implore you to move forward and try and get a little bit better compensation. I just can't tell you the time. And I'm on a couple other boards that aren't county appointments, but so that takes up a little bit more. I'm sure each of us are in the same scenario. And going to Ingles in Cashers to get a gallon of milk is a 45-minute ordeal every time. I kid you not. You get stopped. Sometimes it's easy to go to Walmart. You kind of mix in with the mass, and you don't get picked on so much. And I always published my cell phone number and my residence number. By the way, once I move to Silva, my wife and I'll probably get rid of my landline, but you can always reach me on my cell number.
Next up for tonight, we have a few appointments. First up is the Council on Aging. Jan Fulton has been nominated. She's been recommended to fill the term of Jim Montsinger. So if there is is there a motion to approve Miss Fulton for the Department of Aging?
I make a motion that we recommend Ms. Jane Fulton for the Department of Aging Council.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Next up, we have Tourism Development Authority, and there are a couple of open spots. one spot and a chair. So it looks like Peter Evans has been recommended for the vacant spot. And then Daniel Fletcher is Robert Jumper for the upcoming year has been recommended for the chairmanship. So if there's a motion of approval on those two spots.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion for Robert Jumper to be chair, and he's got a lot of experience in that. We have actually worked together on the TTA and the TDA for over 20 years, and he'd be an excellent chair. He carries a lot of experience, and as well as Mr. Evans.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
None opposed?
Does that still leave a vacant spot?
No.
Okay. Well, I see another vacant down below there. So.
No, that was the North Jackson. I'm not sure which one that one is. I think that's a new, because they just expanded, so it may be a new spot. But any questions from the press tonight? We do have a need to go into closed session for personnel, legal, and real property. So 143-318, 11A3, A5, and A6. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
Motion to go into closed session.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Quick 5 minutes. Session. We do have one announcement. Teresa Moore has been named Transit Director. We'd like to send out a congratulations to Miss Moore and wish her the best of luck. With no further business, we do have an organizational meeting on December 2nd, and then our regular meeting December 3rd, and our work session December 3rd as well. The regular meeting on December 17th will be held at Smoky Mountain Elementary School, so just keep that in the back of your mind. So, with no further business,
I think we should let the retiring commissioners close out the session.
I think they should.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
None opposed. Thank you, gentlemen.